Hello and welcome to Nerd Subculture. I'm your host Jarrod.
And I'm Edwina.
And if you listen to this is our You're Watching That Again movie review podcast. Tonight, Eddie, we picked the one out of the hat. If you listen to our last episode, you know what it is. Or you probably know what it is because you clicked onto this episode seeing the title of it. It is Casino. The 1995 film directed by Martin Scorsese.
Oh, Goodfellas 2.0.
Goodfellas 2.0. That's unfair. I'm going to talk about that later. Starring Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone, Joe Pesci, James Woods, and Don Rickles, and a whole full cast of others. They're the only ones I could bother mentioning. So, yeah, Eddie, first impressions will go around. So,
well, Jarrod, you forgot we forgot my spoiler warning.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Eddie. Go ahead.
All right. Warning, this is a full spoiler podcast. If you haven't seen the movie, please come back when you have. We are discussing our favourite movies that we have seen way too many times and why we love them.
And me jumping the gun.
And you absolutely jumped the gun on that one.
Oh, I just couldn't wait to get into it, all right? I just completely forgot about that. It's been a while since we've done this. I think I've forgotten how to do podcasts. I've forgotten how to do it.
Oh, look at... Yeah.
Okay, so we're back now.
Yeah.
Back now, ready to go, ready to roll into it. So, again, first impressions, Eddie.
With new eyes, it's a very Scorsese movie, and I'll talk about that later in this. And what he does is the females in his stories are generally very two-dimensional.
Yeah, he doesn't do female characters very well. He's gotten better at it a little.
He has gotten better at it. But yeah, Sharon Stone's character, I think when I first watched this movie, I was just like, she's horrible. She's just, she's like the worst person ever. And then watching it with older eyes, I'm like, there's a lot going on between the lines that they're not entirely showing you, but it's there.
Yeah. They're
constantly showing her being this volatile drug addict, but I have a feeling that she's kind of driven to that.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I just think, with fresh eyes, that character definitely changed for me.
Okay. Well, for me...
what do you call it? Older eyes.
Older eyes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I first saw this on Foxtel. This was actually the first Martin Scorsese movie I'd seen.
Okay, so you hadn't seen.
I hadn't seen. No, this is the first. And I remember watching it, and I remember thinking, "Oh, it's just the start of the movie because the narration is on." So I'll just watch until the narration finishes, and then I'll watch something else. Thinking, when does this stop? And I'm like, "Oh, I got to watch this from the start. I got to this movie looked. It sucked me in straight away." So I loved it then. It was my favorite one. I liked it initially, like when I watched Goodfellas, because everyone was telling me Goodfellas was better, and I still liked Casino better. But after some time, I learned to like Goodfellas better, I think. But rewatching it now, I would say is it better than Goodfellas? I think in some aspects it is. I think some of the choices he made, the sets and the music.
The costumes. I think this one's definitely more of a period piece. So it's It's set in the 70s, early 80s.
Early 80s, yeah. So it does lean into that a lot more. Although the other films did have those period costumes, but they weren't as lavish as what they are in this film.
Yeah, they definitely the saturation's like way up.
Yeah.
But then again, it is Vegas, so they kind of got to make it sort of that glitzy, sun-drenched kind of.
There were bright colours everywhere. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking the first time I saw it was probably I'm pretty sure it was on I think Dad bought it home on video. We watched it on a movie night.
God.
I would have been a teenager with it.
Nice, good, fun family film to watch.
Yeah.
Joe Pesci's in it. He's always funny in his movies, isn't he?
Yes.
All right. Well, look. Let me just do the quick summary, Eddie, and I really want to get back to this. All right. In 1973, mafia associate Sam Ace Rothstein, a sports handicapper, is sent to Vegas by the Chicago outfit to manage the Tangiers Casino. Under his leadership, profits soar, with cash being skimmed for the Midwest bosses. Sam's childhood friend, enforcer Nicky Santoro, arrives to protect Sam and the operation, but causes chaos with his criminal activities, drawing unwanted law enforcement attention and eventually being blacklisted from Nevada casinos. Sam marries Ginger, a glamorous con artist, but the marriage unravels due to her ties to her ex-boyfriend Lester Diamond and her volatile behaviour. As tensions rise, Sam fires a connected employee, angering local officials and jeopardising his casino licence. Meanwhile, Nicky's recklessness strains their friendship, and FBI investigations into the skim operations escalate. By 1980, Ginger's betrayal and affair with Nicky deepens the rift. Ginger leaves Sam, taking a small fortune with her. The FBI uncovers the mob's financial crimes, leading to arrests and trials. Everyone involved in the skimming operation or knew anything about is taken out. This includes Ginger, who after squandering most of her fortune is given a hot dose. In 1986, Nicky and his brother are brutally killed by the mob, ending their reign of violence. With the mafia ousted, Las Vegas transitions into corporate-run resorts. Sam, spared for his loyalty, retires to San Diego, returning to his sports betting as he reflects on the end of an era. The end. Now, I have to correct you on something on this, Eddie, because we've given like a sort of a plot here, and I read a quote from Martin Scorsese saying that there is no plot to this film.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was extremely difficult to do the summary for this, by the way, like extremely difficult because it's a 3-hour movie.
And really, this movie is really like a biopic sort of setup, isn't it?
It is based on a real life person. So it's based on real events, but quite heavily romanticized.
And and characters changed. And
characters changed.
Events changed around.
It's very, if I just say, very loosely based on the events around.
Because I think the book that the guy wrote, the story of Nicky Santoro stabbing the guy with the pen, I don't think he did that, but he heard a story of that happening over a minor issue. Yeah, something like that. One of these guys just freaking out and killing someone with a pen.
Well, apparently he got the idea for the movie based on, it was while he was actually working on Goodfellas, because Nicholas, what's his name? Nicholas Pilargi,
the writer, yeah.
The writer of the book. He actually worked on the Goodfellas script with Scorsese. And he actually got the idea for his book after reading a domestic disturbance about Frank Lefty Rosenthal. And
who the character of Sam Rostein's based on.
Yeah. It's Frank Lefty Rosenthal. Rosenthal?
No, we'll go with that. Lefty. Call him Lefty.
Lefty. And his wife, Jerry, a former topless dancer.
Right.
And it gave him the idea for the book, mainly to be about sort of the mob infringement on Las Vegas.
Yeah. And I think, as it stated at the start of the film, it was the lower guys given all this power and control and how they stuffed it all up. Which I don't know if anyone else could have done a better job. I mean, in the end, it was always going to turn to shit, I think. So...
Well, yeah. I think that's the point, isn't it? Like, the movie is a... Is
it cautionary tale? I don't know. I mean, I think we know this is already bad.
Well, this is sort of the intro that I had written to briefly describe this movie. And it's that Martin Scorsese's Casino is a richly layered film that explores themes of power, corruption, loyalty, and the American dream through the rise and fall of its characters in the Las Vegas underworld.
But at night, you couldn't see the desert that surrounds Las Vegas.
Yep, that's... I like that, yeah. I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is definitely...
To summarise a movie in a few sentences.
But for a Scorsese movie, normally his movies are, they're just beloved awards, that like they're nominated for all the, the Academy Awards, whatnot. This movie was largely ignored.
It was. I don't think it was quite as popular as his other films. I didn't realise he did Cape Fear.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was your more sort of Hollywood sort of movie, I feel.
Yeah.
This definitely wasn't. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people were like, it's way too similar to Goodfellas.
Well, yeah, I don't agree with that. Just it's because of the casting. Because you have basically
It's the same writer, same director.
Yeah.
It's got 3 of the same actors.
yeah, yes,
Or 3 or 4.
for his mother.
Oh yeah, yeah. So there's multiple
Mm.
same people. Like, and to be honest, sometimes I get the lines confused from Goodfellas.
Yeah, I mean the difference being Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci are more main characters in this film than they were in the previous films, and of course Joe Pesci got killed in both movies.
Yeah, and he gets killed quite brutally in this one as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And he killed the character that killed him in this movie, so there's sort of a parallel with that. So the guy he stumped his head on in the boot at the opening scene of Goodfellas, that actor or that ends up killing him with a bat, and his name was Billy Bats. So, sort of a nod to that film. I mean, he couldn't ignore it. It's and
well,
playing the hothead.
So as I said, that like a lot of the critics were like, it just feels like Goodfellas 2.0.
Yeah, and on the surface, I get that. Yeah, it's definitely there, but it's a lot different.
But pretty much the only person that got even a nomination was Sharon Stone.
Oh wow, really?
She actually got a nomination for, like, and she is fantastic in this.
Yeah,
but Ginger is portrayed as fucking batshit crazy when I don't actually think she was.
Yeah, and it's a little unfair because reading up on the history of it and rewatching it now, there was something I noticed that Sharon Stone looked like she had a black eye in one scene when she's talking to Joe Pesci, like it sort of covered up a little bit.
Yeah.
So as if maybe Sam had been beating her or something.
Well, it was that thing where, like, the way that their relation, like, he gets enamored with her, and pretty much the way that he meets her is she's causing a ruckus, pretty much. Like, she is a con artist. She's a hustler.
Yeah.
And she's quite open about her love of money and partying.
Yeah.
And she's quite happy having fun with Ace. And then he sort of proposes this deal of marriage. It's not like a romantic.
No, it's not at all. It's a business arrangement.
It's a business arrangement, the way that he does it. And she's like, oh, she's like, I don't feel that way about you. And, she's like very open and honest about her feelings. And he's like, but I'll, he just promises her, if it doesn't work out, you can
leave.
You can leave. But then he baby traps her.
Yeah.
He gets her pregnant. And then when she asks to leave, he will not let her leave.
He said if it didn't work out between us, that I could get my things and I could leave.
The other thing is he is an absolute control freak. Like, he would be horrible to live with. Like, you're talking about, like, you watch the way that he is like the micromanager from hell in that casino.
Well, it's a saying he said. There's 3 ways of doing ththings. There's the right way, there's the wrong way, and there's a way that I want it done.
Yes. But yeah, he's like, the blueberries in the muffin, the exact. I remember you saying that to me once. You have to have all the same amount of blueberries in every muffin. And of course the chef has looked at him like he's batshit crazy, because when you make blueberry muffins, you sort of mix, like, you kind of create like a sauce out of the blueberries, and they kind of disintegrate.
I was actually curious about that. I thought you just inject every muffin with blueberries.
No,
so you don't do that.
No, you kind of create a sauce and then you mix that sauce through the batter. So that's why the chef is like, no, you don't put you got to sort of create kind of a syrup with the blueberries first.
Well, you just sort of make it a big dough and then you just pour that into the things, do you? Is that how it works?
No, like you just stir it into the batter.
Like a big batter thing. Then you just pour that into each mold and that makes a muffin, yeah? I guess. I've never made muffins before. You're the muffin lady. You tell me.
I don't know. I just think that. And the fact that, he's weighing all the showgirls. Because he shouldn't. He was in areas where he shouldn't have been. That was my whole. Like, if you're running the joint, you shouldn't be worried about how many fucking blueberries are in a muffin. Like, it's like there's other. Like, you can, a good leader, you have people around you that you outsource that stuff to.
Like, no, he was hands on with everything. Well, a video I want to talk about something else, sort of the truth aspects of the story. Because there was a video, I think it's a video historian or all about the movies, where he talks about how historically accurate sort of films are. And he gave this movie a bit of a pass. And one thing he mentioned with this movie in aspect to reality, and what you just mentioned being the control freak thing, like the whole scene where he asks Ginger to take that ankle bracelet, not the ankle bracelet, but the beeper thing where he can constantly get in contact with her.
Yeah.
In the movie, it makes him like reluctant that he's got no choice to do it. Because the way she acts, that he has to do this. When in reality, like it would have been him like controlling everyone and her.
Yeah.
It makes him like reluctantly have to do it rather than what it would have been in real life. I mean, we weren't there, but so I think that's sort of something they change in the movie that makes her look worse.
Yeah.
That you think that, he has to do that because, she's insane and, she's crazy woman.
I wouldn't even call her. Yeah, but I feel like she was actually just driven insane by him. She was her own person. Yeah. She was a kind of a, she was a character to begin with. Well, he kind of thought he could tame this wild beast. And so it was almost like a little pet project for him. Like it was just, he got to conquer her almost. Like
turn her into the housewife. And that's just
domesticate
the
the wild lion that she was.
And it didn't go well.
You are not defending me anymore! You fuck! You fuck! I'm sick of you! I am fucking Nicky Santoro! I am! He's my new sponsor! How about that? You fuckhead! What are you looking at? Fuck off!
Hey,
Uncle Ed, go back inside!
So when we are talking about a Martin Scorsese movie, I'm just gonna propose something to you here. A little deal, maybe.
Okay.
No.
Don't like where this is going. It's going to end bad.
Well, so I've sort of had the cult, because normally we do in little sections, and the first section is normally cast of characters. We've sort of already talked about the cast of characters.
Mm-hmm.
The cultural impact of this movie. And I think in order to talk about the cultural impact, I think you have to talk about Martin Scorsese as a filmmaker. And I'm just going to run through some of the hallmarks of a Scorsese movie and whether this movie and whether it applies to this movie.
Okay, yeah, all right. Yep, go on.
So, long duration. Yes. It's not quite The Irishman. That was like 6 hours or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a long one, yeah.
Themes of morality and redemption.
Don't think anyone really got any redemption in this movie.
No.
No.
Well, there's definitely themes of morality. Most of them are.
There's themes of morality, but there's no
immoral.
redemption.
There's no real. Well, the redemption is most of them end up dead.
Well,
so is that the redemption?
Usually, redemption's where you make up for the bad things you've done. Wouldn't it be? Isn't that the redemption?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll go no on that one.
Yeah, no, not that one. No.
All right, crime and violence. Tick, tick.
Yeah.
Complex male characters. Yeah. Catholic guilt and religion. Not so much in this one.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think anyone was even a religious person, as in like a priest or anything like that in this film. So no, I wouldn't say that. No.
All right. A city as a character. Yeah.
Yeah.
Innovative cinematic techniques.
Yes. The spotlights, lots of spotlights.
Tracking shots, voiceover
shots.
narration, freeze frame. It doesn't do freeze frames, does it?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah,
it does.
Yeah. Just, what have I got? Soundtracks. Snappy, Scorsese uses music, especially rock and roll, as a storytelling device, with tracks often juxtaposing the on-screen action. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Rising
Sun.
Yeah. Collaboration with actors either De Niro or Leonardo DiCaprio. Other than no DiCaprio, but we got De Niro. Social commentary. Scorsese often explores themes like the American dream, power, corruption, and the human cost of ambition. Based off a book or bio? Often a period piece.
Chick.
Non-linear storytelling? Yes.
It starts with the ending.
With him
Oh, yeah.
getting blown up. Yeah. Flawed masculinity. Male characters often grapple with toxic masculinity, ego, and the consequences of their actions.
When you say it like
on
that.
relationships.
When you say it like that. Yeah.
Two-dimensional female character.
Is that there, is it?
Yes.
There's probably a little bit more going on with her, but yeah, I wouldn't say she was two-dimensional, though. I think it's a little harsh. I think
this movie does not pass. It barely passes the Bechdel test.
It does. All right, the Bechdel test. So we brought that up. So you've got to have more than 2 female characters. All right, that's the first one.
What's that they have to be named, by the way.
Oh, it's his wife.
Yeah, what's Joe Pesci's wife's name?
I don't remember her name. But she's a character, all right? She was in a few scenes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's the first one. The second one, do they talk to each other?
Yes.
So they talk to each other on the phone, and that's when Joe
But
Pesci...
do they talk to each other about a man?
No, they weren't. They were talking about other stuff. They were... Because that was the thing. They have...
So that their men could talk.
So the men could
So
talk.
that the men could talk. It was a way that they got out of the
That's
bar.
a pass. That's stupid.
As I said, it barely passes.
That's pretty dumb, that thing. But anyway, yeah. Oh, it's a thing, I guess.
Yeah. And extensive use of voiceovers, which he doesn't do as much anymore.
No. And this one, he goes all out. It's pretty much from start to go, and to end. And even you have 2 characters doing it, which is a little weird too, to have 2 characters doing it. But there's even a third character does it. Frankie, or I think that's the actor's name. But he has one scene where he does a voiceover. Yeah. So which is a little weird, that one. Yeah. To hear it coming from him. And it's really weird with the movie because sometimes there's scenes where there's plenty of scenes where there's narration going, there's music going, and the characters are talking in the same scene. Yeah. So it's like you can't even hear a lot of the times they're doing scenes, and they would have shot these scenes, but you're not going to hear what they say. Like, you might just hear, like, the end of a sentence, and that's
apparently a lot of those scenes, they're all ad-libbed anyway. Like, I think Scorsese would just tell them where the conversation starts, what they're talking about, and just let them ad-lib whatever they wanted, because... As you said, it doesn't really matter.
No, it's not really important because they're just showing the scene. They're just showing where they are. Yeah, that's amazing. That's great, and it works really well. Like what I'm saying, you've got music going over it. You've got a narration going over it, and then you've got the characters acting a scene all into one part. And you'd think that it's just like, I can't fucking hear anything. So they're getting the sound mixing on that is just
is amazing.
Yeah, like you have to really get that right.
There's a real art form in the way that they have.
Yeah, you need some sort of Oscar-winning director to do that or something. I don't know, to nail that properly. So I really love those scenes. There's through it, and usually when they're having a serious scene, there's no narration, there's virtually no score, and you just hear the characters talk. So that's when you sort of hint to the audience that this is an important sort of scene that's happening now. So he just cuts it all out, so you can hear everything. So he knows when to use it and when not to use it. He's just great. Yeah. I don't want this to be just a Scorsese circle jerk here, but look, he's good. He's a great actor.
We've talked about the one thing that he doesn't do well, and that's female character.
He's working on it. Did a little better in The Irishman. Did a little better on that with the Kiwi girl.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
In The Irishman. That Kiwi girl, True Blood, what's her name?
Oh, Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she doesn't do much, but she seems a little more...
Oh, maybe also Wolf of Wall Street. Margot Robbie's a little less two-dimensional. Like, they're pretty much her and Ginger are the same fucking character. Almost.
Virtually, yeah.
Good morning, Daddy. Where's my kiss?
Well, is there anything that you would like to talk about the cultural impact of this movie? What would you think is the...
Well, I think the movie's pretty under the radar. Like, I think when his catalogue's mentioned, this, when you mentioned Wolf of Wall Street, Casino, Goodfellas. Yeah. His earlier films, I don't really know much. I've never seen like The Raging Bull. I've seen Taxi Driver.
Yeah, I've seen Taxi
Driver. So that had a huge cultural impact, that film.
Yeah.
So I feel like this one probably doesn't. And I feel maybe it's just that unfortunate circumstances of people just saying it's Goodfellas 2.0. And yeah, when you're using the same actors a lot, I suppose that's going to happen. But I think it's more than that. Maybe he should have, in hindsight, cast different people to give it its own identity.
Yeah.
But when you've got great actors
but
there,
then again, as I said, he pretty much puts either DiCaprio or De Niro in all of his movies.
Yeah.
Like it's one or the other.
Yeah. What about Hugo? I've never seen Hugo.
I didn't think he did that. I thought that was
No, he made that. Yeah, he directed Hugo.
It's like a kids.
It's
movie.
a kids movie. Yeah, I know. I've never seen it.
It's about cinema though. Like it's
Well, it sounds even better. I've sort of missed that
no,
one.
it's sort of like about the way that film used to be made. It used silver oxide, and it was the fact that most of the early films that were made were like recycled because they wanted the silver. They needed the silver, and so very few movies survived from that period of time.
Wow. I haven't seen it. He made that. That's his.
Oh,
He directed that.
For some reason, I thought it was Spielberg.
It's a kids' film, so I think by the look of it, you feel like Spielberg maybe had some hand in it. I don't know, because Scorsese is like, how do you make a kids' film that doesn't involve people getting bashed with hammers and heads and vices?
Yeah, I can't even remember who's in.
Yeah. Because I think he said he wanted to make something his children, grandchildren could watch.
Yes. All right. Well, I'll move on to the visual aesthetic and tone. And all I can say is it looks like a Scorsese film.
Yeah, and as we said before, the sets, which they did film in a casino for the casino shots.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit more opulent. The casino is kind of richer and the colours are more saturated.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of gold, red, and neons going on. Kind of does capture that kind of excess and decadence a little bit. Very, very Las Vegas lavish.
Maybe sort of leading into what he'll do with Wolf of Wall Street with Access, and that being sort of the theme of that, because it's sort of there but not quite there, is it? You sort of got those inklings of the drug use and stuff like that, where he leans a lot more into that film.
Yeah, probably say he does use meticulously symmetrical compositions with his shots, because very precise framing of each frame. Lots of sweeping tracking shots as well. And yeah, as I said, it's a period aesthetic. So
yeah, probably one of the worst shots in the film. We've got to do some negatives. The opening scene where you see Sam blow up in the car. There is like a split moment where you can quite clearly see a dummy in it. One frame too long in that one.
Yeah, I don't know, the tacky flames and whatnot that go over the credits is kind of.
It was like a James Bond intro, isn't it?
Yeah.
The body flying in the air and everything.
Yeah. But it's also done with like this, very operatic music over the top of it as well.
He uses that a lot, though, in his films. It's the melancholy sort of sadness that he has in his films. It's always prevalent.
Yeah.
That's what should have been something that sort of Martin Scorsese top 10 list.
Yeah. When speaking of the tone of the movie, it's pretty fast paced. The movie, like there aren't really long sections where you're bored. Like,
it's a funny thing. Like when I first watched this, 30 something years ago, where I thought I'd just watch a bit of it and just almost end up watching the whole thing. And I remember recently, I chucked on Wolf of Wall Street, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. It's just like a 3-hour movie. I'm like, I'm not going to watch it all. I'll just watch a bit and watch the rest tomorrow. And 3 hours later, I'm still there watching it. You just can't switch it off. There's no point where you go, oh, okay, we've sort of got to that midpoint or that boring point of the film where it's, nothing much happens. It's pretty much everything is relevant, interesting. It just keeps you watching and right to the end. It's just great how he does that with his films.
Yeah.
I got something I want to say. F-bombs. How many F-bombs do you reckon this movie has?
Oh, God. I don't know. Pesci just has them coming out left, right, and centre. No idea. There must be 100.
It was a record at the time. 435.
Pesci. Well,
That's
when
2.4 times a minute.
Well, when Pesci speaks, it's like every second word is fuck.
Fuck this, fuck that.
Fuck you, you motherfucking fuckers.
That was beaten by the movie, or tied, I should say, the movie Summer of Sam.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that movie.
And now, do you want to know what the record is? The most F-bombs in a movie?
Okay.
Have a guess. We already mentioned it.
Like 500.
No, I mean, the movie.
Oh, the movie?
Yeah.
That has the most amount
Most
of
F-bombs.
And we've already mentioned it.
Yeah.
Is it Wolf of Wall
It's
Street?
Wolf of Wall Street. 569.
Okay.
Number one.
Yeah.
I just want to go back talking about the actors. I want to talk about Joe Pesci for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joe Pesci, he made all of these movies, but I just never seen them. So, the Joe Pesci I knew was like a different person to when I saw in these films. Like, I'd never seen him like this and didn't realize this is actually what people think of Joe Pesci. So, I'd seen him in movies like the Lethal Weapon movies, My Cousin Vinny, The Super. Did you ever see that one, The Super? Yeah. So they were more comedic sort of roles.
Yeah. He was like a comedic actor.
Yeah, and of course, obviously the Home Alone films. So this is the one where like, oh,
Well,
he's got a bit of a potty mouth.
I always find the Home Alone movies hilarious because it's just him
Trying not to
trying
swear.
not to swear. But yeah, he was kind of known as the comic relief character.
yeah. Like, I think Lethal Weapon was like the first film I saw him in. He's a Leo Getz guy, and he was kind of a fast-talking used car salesman, comic relief character. And and yeah, then seeing him in these films, like, oh, okay, wow. Yeah. He's a little intimidating, you know? He's kind of scary, this guy.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro. Yeah, I mean, I'd seen him in plenty of films, and so he always just seems like Robert De Niro to me.
I know what you mean. Like he's a good actor, but again, I do feel like he's just always just De Niro.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just what, that's your thing. That's what you do. Sharon Stone. So prior to this film, Sharon Stone was a bit of a, what you call a pin-up girl at the time or something, I guess.
Oh, had she done Basic Instincts by this stage?
Yeah, she had. Yeah. The infamous.
So she was the it girl.
Yeah, very much the it girl. So I think every boy at that age had seen that movie.
Had a crush on Sharon Stone.
Oh, yeah. Just the leg scene. Classic scene. James Woods. Yeah. He's
Lester
Diamond. The whole Lester Diamond incident. Yeah, he's James Woods. Don Rickles, better known as Mr. Potato.
What are you looking at, you hockey puck?
And on another thing on Joe Pesci, his wife at the time was the hostess of who was on the show. We saw her a few times. I remember saying to you, I think possibly Sam was having an affair with her.
Yeah, because you saw him kiss her at one point.
Yeah, you did see him kiss her. Again, playing down his infidelity. Like I'm almost sure that
well, Ginger does bring up his infidelities as well. Like she's like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
so that actress was actually married to Joe Pesci at the time.
Yeah,
that was Joe Pesci's wife. And in 2000, she was convicted of 2 counts of attempted murder for hiring a hitman to kill her ex-husband. Not Joe Pesci, another guy. She spent she got sentenced to 14 years, did like a little bit less than that, and she's out of jail. Definitely could say Joe Pesci dodged a bullet with her.
Yeah, could say that.
Actually, one actor I do want to mention, Martin Scorsese's mother, who played a role in this film. Yeah. She actually passed away a year after it came out.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, she was in Goodfellas as the mother. I was looking at IMDb. She pretty much played a mother her whole life. And she looked exactly the same. She had the same hair and glasses her whole life. And I believe she did help. I'm not sure of this film, but definitely with Goodfellas, she helped with like the collars and pressing all the collars for all the actors and stuff.
Yeah.
So they've got to look right. They've got to look perfect. These guys are quite suave. They wouldn't go around with like all, creases and stuff on their collars, Yeah. That's why they all look so perfect in that movie.
Yeah.
Even in this film, I think maybe she helped in this film too. I don't know.
Maybe. Some of those suits were pretty pristine. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Can I continue to the next section? Or
Yes,
do you want me to
go on.
just skip it?
No, go for it. Yeah.
Because normally what we do are the themes and metaphors
Okay.
within the film. Some of the themes present would be the illusion of control. Like Sam believes that through precision and discipline and knowledge, he can control everything in the casino. However, his life unravels due to external chaos, as in like Nikki.
Well, it's funny that conversation they have because Nikki asks him, what do you think about me coming to Vegas? And, he's like, it's tough out here. And then when they have that argument later, he brings that up. He says, remember when you asked me about coming here? He said, I knew you were going to come anyway, but remember when you asked me about coming here? And then he threw it in his face. I didn't ask you. That didn't happen. Hang on, rewind that. You definitely said that.
Well, the film suggests that no matter how meticulous one is, true control is an illusion. Greed and corruption. The film exposes how greed drives every character, whether it's Ace's obsession with profits, Ginger's materialism, or Nikki's insatiable hunger for power. Their downfall is inevitable. The casino itself is a metaphor for the broader capitalist system, rewarding greed until it turns self-destructive.
Well, going back to the religious themes you mentioned before, could that casino be the religious theme, the worshipping false gods? I noticed, I really felt that watching Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
It always made me think of the scene in the Ten Commandments when they get to that mountain and Moses on the mountain and they decide to make their own bull god.
Yeah.
And and they have that sort of it's almost like an orgy scene they have in the it's not, obviously not in Ten Commandments, but it seems to be like debauchery going on, while they're worshipping this false god, this false idol. And maybe the religious themes in this movie are similar of them worshipping the false gods of money and capitalism, greed, and they're all just, participants in that sort of aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good take, I think.
Yeah. Thank you.
Loyalty versus betrayal. Trust is fragile in Casino. Ace trusts Ginger despite her volatile nature, only to be betrayed. Nikki, Ace's childhood friend, betrays him by breaking the rule of sleeping with Ginger.
The bro code.
The mob bosses ultimately dispose of their own when they become liabilities. Highlighting how loyalty in this world is conditional. And then you get the rise and fall of empires.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the American dream as a mirage. The characters chase wealth and power, believing they can secure happiness, but their greed blinds them to reality. Ace's dream of a perfect life is shattered as he loses everything, reinforcing the idea that the American dream is often an illusion.
I wonder if that's some really drugged up guys going at casino at any stage in a convertible.
Yeah. We've already done that movie.
Yeah. Would they have crossed paths? I'm curious. At the same time, I don't know. They might have stumbled in there and started screaming about golf shoes.
Yeah. I was going to go with metaphors.
Mm-hmm.
I think your religious false idols metaphor was probably better than what I've got.
Okay, well, spit it out.
The casino as a microcosm of America. The casino is a controlled environment where the house always wins. Much like the broader economic system, it represents capitalism in its purest form, ruthless, deceptive, and built to exploit the desperate.
That's definitely what they do.
Yeah.
House always wins.
Yeah. Las Vegas as a mirage. The city itself is a metaphor for illusion and excess. It promises wealth, excitement, and success, but beneath the surface is built on corruption and crime. Much like its characters, it thrives on deception.
Mm-hmm.
The tangled relationships between Ace, Nikki, and Ginger.
Yep.
So you have the toxic dynamic between the three represent different aspects of power. Ace represents order and control. Nikki represents unchecked violence and rebellion. Ginger represents chaos and self-destruction. Together they form a volatile mix that ultimately implodes.
See, I was almost thinking a duality between Ace and Tony, but there is sort of a holy trinity there, though, isn't there? Back to the religious themes, because I was thinking, the duality of order and chaos between Sam and Tony, but then when you throw Ginger in the mix there,
Nikki,
they do be...
Nikki, don't you mean?
Oh, sorry, Nikki. Yeah, Tony's original. It's based off Nikki, sorry. So you've got chaos and order. But if you throw Ginger in there, we have the Holy Trinity. There we go.
Yes.
The religious themes are there. We just had to peel it back a little bit.
Yeah. In conclusion, Casino is a meditation on power, greed, and inevitability. Its themes and metaphors reinforce the idea that while people believe they can manipulate systems to their advantage, in the end, the house always wins.
Still wins.
So, well, I've done with my little...
You done with your notes?
Done with my little section. Did you want to...
I think I've... I got nothing left.
Do we want to move on to question?
I think we shall.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
All right, Eddie. Question time. So I asked the questions in the movies. Yes, I do.
We forgot to say whose pick this movie was.
Probably would have been mine, I guess.
It's yours.
Okay, all right. Of course it was. Eddie, first question. Which character was your favourite?
Oh, look, I'm going to go with Ginger.
Ginger? Yeah.
Mainly because all of the characters in this movie are absolutely horrible, horrible people that you would not want to meet in real life.
Who would be I'd say the nicest character would probably be Don Rickles' character.
Who was he?
He was the Don Rickles, the bald guy.
Yeah.
I'd probably say he was the nicest character.
Yeah, I still no. Just
well, he didn't really do anything bad.
Maybe Pesci's wife. Maybe.
Okay. The 3 lines she got. All right. My favourite character. I love Nikki Santoro.
Nikki Santorini.
Santo.
Santos.
Nikki Santoro. Yeah. He's a blast. Love him. Wouldn't want to hang out with him. Might hang out with Ginger. Seems like she'd be fun.
Looks like she'd be a bit of fun, actually.
She'd be fun at parties.
Actually, you know what? Yeah. Ginger would be fun at a party.
Yeah. Next question, Eddie. LOL moment.
All right. I'm going to go with the head in the vice scene.
Yeah.
So Nikki has, what's his name? Tony something or other in the head vice. And he's held out for like 2 days of torture. And he's got his head in the vice, and he finally tells him the name Charlie M. And Joe Pesci's character is like, "Your head's in a vice, Charlie M. You make me pop your fucking eye out of your head to protect that piece of shit, Charlie M. You dumb motherfucker." It's a horrendous scene. It's
his reaction to like that
scene.
Guy, really.
But yeah, it's somehow so horrendously. What is it? It's funny, disturbing, brutal. Like it's possibly one of the most brutal scenes in the movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But then it's also you're like ew, and then you just fucking piss yourself laughing.
Apparently, Scorsese thought that the MPA would make him take that scene out of the film, and he purposely made that pretty brutal so they'd be distracted by that scene and not so much the other scenes in the movie. But they okayed it in the end. He's like, "Oh, okay, cool, fine." My LOL moment, and it always just cracks me up. It's such a small scene, but when they're in that green grocer and there's that guy just yelling about, he's basically spilling the whole fucking beans of their operation. Yeah. And it's Martin Scorsese's mother.
Yeah.
And her reacting to he's talking about some horrible shit. Like what they're doing, all this illegal stuff that they're doing. And she's getting upset of him swearing. He's like, "Mom, I'm sorry," and he's, he's there, mouthing off about he's going to kill this guy or that guy, and they're full of shit and all this, and his mother's getting angry about the swearing, and he's like a 50-year-old man, all right?
Yeah.
I don't know, that juxtaposing that just it cracks me up, but
Okay.
next question, Eddie, favorite action scene?
Probably like Nikki's downfall when they I think Scorsese described it as like Nicky was always going to be led to his death by his friends. Like that's how he's always going to die. He's going to be killed by someone close to him. And he's pretty much led to a cornfield and killed. Him and his brother are killed by their own men, basically, their own crew.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole scene.
Yeah. Okay. My favorite action scene. It's more of a clips where they're sort of losing control, and when they're like getting really hard into the drugs. It's funny, they don't really show them taking drugs. Like they show like a clip of like cocaine or a white powder being snorted into a tube, but they're sort of showing how it's wearing them down and they're losing control, and that sort of whole sequence of that. Of them sort of falling apart and the guy getting shot when he's holding a sandwich in his hand, and towards the end. So I kind of like that one.
Okay.
All right, next question, Eddie. Most iconic scene?
Well, I'm going to go with... So it's the House of the Rising Sun song.
Mm-hmm.
And as that's playing, you get a montage of everyone who knew anything getting whacked.
Yeah.
Including Ginger, all done with that. The House of the Rising.
Well, that's leaning into the melancholy of Scorsese's sort of repertoire. That's what he leans into, because it's a juxtapose of like this horrible stuff happening with like a.
But what I was going to say, why I have it in here is because you see it parodied in other movies using that song.
Right. Well, maybe that's a cultural impact.
When it's cleaning up the act,
Yeah.
like when you have to clean up a mess, that's what you do.
Well, no, it's the lyrics: "The house of a rising sun, a
Yeah.
new day, a new dawn."
Yeah.
What to wipe up the mess from yesterday.
Yeah.
But just on that, the Ace Rothstein character. Now, well, I mentioned that YouTube video I watched the other day about the history buffs. I think it's History Buffs. I think it's called. And something that he mentioned in that video is that it's possible that Sam Rothstein may have been, or the character Lefty, may have actually been an informant for the FBI. Now, it's not confirmed, but they're almost certain that he was working with the FBI. And while you're watching this again, I'm kind of wondering, why didn't he go down? Even in the film, everyone else was taken down. He was running the casino.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he faced no repercussions whatsoever. Well, from the movie's point of view anyway, it seemed like he just walked away from it.
Well, it seemed like he still had use.
Well, no, I mean, not by the mafia. I mean by like the cops. Why didn't the cops go after him? As arresting everyone else, they arrested Ginger, even though she couldn't.
They didn't hold, like, they didn't really arrest her. They
tried to get her to flip it, and it showed they tried to get him to flip, but it seemed like he must have been involved. He was hands in, like, okay, she was just a housewife, so she could flip, but they really had nothing on her. He was running the operation, so I don't know why he would be immune to any sort of prosecution. So
I don't know. Maybe they just had absolutely nothing on him. Well, you never really saw him getting his hands dirty. It seemed like everyone else was.
Yeah, but he was obviously aware of the scheme.
Pretty much, he was aware of the scheme, but he was the one making. He was the one bringing in money first. Yeah. First and foremost, he was the one bringing in. Yeah, but there's
got to be some sort of collusion involved in that, where he'd be, Anyway, I just noticed that when I was rewatching it. So, iconic scene for me, Eddie, it's got to be Nicky Santoro's death. I think it's the most iconic scene. And just on that too, with the narrations, and it does sort of crack me up a little bit. And I don't know if it's... Is it almost a fourth wall break?
Yeah.
Because you imagine the characters are narrating this, and then he reacts to what's happening to his character as he's getting hit, and you hear Joe Pesci do a,
Yeah, it's a very weird scene because he's narrating the scene, and then he does like a scream as he gets hit by the bat.
And it's not him screaming on the set, it's him screaming in the narration, which is kind of weird.
And then De Niro takes over the narration.
Yeah. And it's a good misdirection because you kind of feel like, oh, if they're narrating, then they're not going to die. They've got plot armor.
Yeah.
So it's a false sense of security. Like, well, he's going to be okay, And he says, "Oh, I picked a spot for us to meet up." So he picked the spot. He didn't meet them there, which would be kind of sus. But they were already ready for him. So that scene with the getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
Often I see memes used in that photo where they're holding his head, making him watch them beat his brother, as what happens to Italians when you put pineapple on pizza.
Or you break the pasta.
Or you break the
photos
pasta.
of breaking the spaghetti before you put it in the water.
Yeah. Gruesome scene as well. That's got to be I think that's probably the most gruesome scene.
I don't know that. I don't know. The head in the vice. They're both pretty bad.
Yeah. Horrible scenes. Memorable. All right, Eddie. Most iconic quote.
Peekaboo, you fucks you.
I see you motherfuckers. I say that every time I drive past a speed camera. I just say it. No one's around. All right, but I know it's funny. Iconic quote for me. It's a bit of a funny one, but again, it's just like how detached from reality these guys are, and it's Remo talking to Frankie, and Remo's like, "Frankie, they found a guy's head in the desert. Did you hear about that?" And he replies, "Yeah, I heard. Everybody's talking about it. Making a big deal about it. It's in all the papers. What are you going to do, huh?" And I mean, that's no good. You got to tell them to take care of things a little better. Just nonchalantly, Just
take care of things better. Just do things better.
Make sure you dig the holes better so they don't find the heads, And I've got a little another mention, and again, it's from Remo as well, and this one always cracks me up. It's like where they're speaking in code, and again for Frankie, the little guy, he wouldn't be fucking the Jew's wife, would he? Because if he is, it's a problem. The little guy. I love that little names from. They've got the Jew and the little guy as they refer to the characters. So I always find that funny. All right, Eddie. Next question.
Peekaboo, you fucks you.
Who gets the wooden spoon?
I'm giving it to Sam. Possibly his micromanagement is his downfall in the end, because the biggest issue that occurs is he fires that guy that's the brother-in-law.
And he was warned several times, we can't fire this guy. And he was given a chance to, when the guy came in, he's like, "Look, I know he's really shit. Could you just put him in something else?
Put him somewhere, do something with him." And he's just like, nah. So his own arrogance kind of is his downfall. But
the thing is, it didn't even really matter. Even though he lost his license, he could still work in there. And then he went on TV show too, and that was actually happened in real life. That lefty did have a TV show.
Yeah, put him somewhere quiet.
Which I think Don Rickles was in.
Yeah,
was actually meant to be the sidekick of that show.
But it was hilarious that they're like, let's just put him in a job, but just make it something
it's
quiet.
Something quiet.
And then
bang. I wrote down James Woods, but actually on reflection, I've forgotten the character's name, but it was a guy. The guy in the grocery store who was swearing with his wife, who decided to write a journal of all the illegal shit they're doing, which he had a heart attack from it because he realized how badly he fucked up, which probably worked out for him. I think even
actually, that's probably one of the a really funny moment in this movie is when all of the bosses are caught and they're all in the courtroom and they've all got oxygen masks on, trying to look sickly and old. And
I think they probably would have been, though. That's probably not an exaggeration. I think they were.
No, but it was definitely an exaggeration. And you have, and in recent times, you've seen certain people do that to try to get out of doing lots of time in prison. Not looking at you, Weinstein.
Oh, looking at me then. What? Looking at me?
Weinstein and
I'm not Weinstein. All right, Eddie, next question. Who gets the Oscar?
Gotta be Joe Pesci.
Yeah, I went Joe Pesci too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, he's just so, for someone so small, he's so menacing.
Yeah. And it's a shame. I feel like he didn't really get a lot of lead roles. I mean, some of those other films I mentioned, like the comedies, but I feel like he never got really that challenging lead role. Like this is probably as close to as like a great lead role he got in his career. I feel I haven't seen all his films. The Irishman, he wasn't really in that a lot, but you know, and this.
I thought he was one of the lead.
He's not. He is and he isn't. I think. I'm just trying to think. I can't really remember a lot of scenes with him in it. It's a long movie. I can't remember it all. But yeah, this is probably the best lead role he ever got, I'd say. So I mean, he was in Goodfellas, but his role was a lot more prominent in this one, and yeah, had a lot to do. So missed out on this, unfortunately. Who got the Oscar in 1996?
That was like the year of the English patient.
Fuck that movie.
And just die already.
But then the movie came out in 1995. So.
Well, depending where it came out.
But then it was in the award season for 1996.
Yeah, it would have been the following year, unless it came in January. But yeah.
1995 was a pretty tough year, though.
Okay.
that was Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction.
Oh, so probably Tom Hanks got that one in, I think. Did he?
That was 95.
Yeah.
96. I think that was at the. I think it's the English Patient was the one that took out all the big awards, and maybe.
Oh no! It was Nicolas Cage, Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh.
Yeah, and Kevin Spacey's supporting role, Susan Sarandon. And who got the best?
Oh, that was American Beauty.
No, Usual Suspects.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Final question, Eddie. What do you rate this movie out of 10 using something from the movie?
7 out of 10 heads in vices.
I got 9 out of 10 heads to use to open the fucking doors.
The cowboy. The cowboy scene,
yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to grab him his fucking head to open the door. I love that. All right, Eddie. That's the end of the podcast. So next week, back to Buffy?
Oh, yes.
Yes, back to Buffy? Okay. All right. Well, we're just going to wrap this up here, I think. So, thank you for joining us tonight. We are Nerd Subculture. My name is Jarrod.
I'm Edwina.
And Eddie's got something very important to say, haven't you, Eddie?
I totally haven't got my thing here. Anyway, we're on all the socials. They're all getting banned and whatnot. Anyway.
So like and subscribe to it.
Like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, share, blah, 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 all that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do it if you don't. I don't care. Whatever. We'll still be here. Till next time. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Fetch it!